Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about team mode, and I'm going to be referring back to an original Reddit thread which I believe was started, actually I could check, I think it's 3 months ago. I'll give a link to the thread in the description of this video if you want to go check the thread that started this discussion in the first place. Yeah, it was 3 months ago. It was made by Pashy90, a player that a lot of you will be familiar with. This is an issue that's been, or not an issue, it's a suggestion that's been raised many times in the history of Rocket League. And I've, always been a fan of the idea of team mode. I know a lot of you guys have as well, although not everybody. Some people have their reservations. But I'm going to go through a response that a Psyonix dev made to Pashy's original Reddit thread. Pashy brought up a lot of reasons why he wanted team mode and a lot of reasons why he thinks it would be a good idea. And I don't necessarily agree with everything that he said. I think it's a good discussion to bring up though. But what I do think was a really good response was the Psyonix dev who responded to Pashy's thread about team mode. He went through a lot of things in detail, as you can see here. Sorry about the formatting, by the way. I don't know how to get rid of this black or dark blue background. But anyway, I'll go through. I'll read the response. It's very well spoken by the Psyonix dev. I don't know who actually did it, but and then I'll talk about some of the answers that I have, and hopefully you guys can give me feedback on them. Let me know if you think they're good ideas or not. But yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've come up with a couple of ideas that I think might be solutions to the questions that Psyonix have about team mode, and hopefully at the end of this, we'll have a healthy discussion about it. Is it really a good idea? Like what I want to come out from this is I want us to talk about, is team mode a good idea for growing the player base of Rocket League? So at the end of the day, that's really what we all want. We want there to be more players playing Rocket League, more people having fun playing this game, and more, old players coming back to it, new players being remotivated to play. Just, get people excited about the game. Is team mode a way to do that? That's the real question that I'm going to be addressing today. So let's read through this response to team mode and some of the issues that Psyonix have with it at the moment. So this is from a Psyonix dev. Okay, let's talk. Buckle up, because I'm going to go into way more detail than you wanted. Teams have been something we've discussed internally since before the game shipped. It's a feature we supported in SARP, that's the original game, the prequel, and it's an attractive idea on the surface. What I can say without reservation is that we're interested in giving players a sense of group identity, e.g. a team or clan. Having a clan tag and unique name that other players can see is a really satisfying and proven feature in other multiplayer games. Where we're a little bit more cautious is around the concept of team rankings. While concepts like this make it seem like a no-brainer, there are a lot of, there are quite a lot of complications it introduces. Let's examine a few. So that's just a little introduction to the topic. And the first issue that they bring up is queue fragmentation. Again, sorry about this weird formatting. I don't know how to do this. I copy pasted it from Rocket League's Reddit, and they've got weird background color. But anyway, let's read what they have to say about queue fragmentation. They say, we don't like pulling players out of existing competitive queues, but team queue as pictured in these images would require at least one more queue. And then in a little side note, and 2v2 teams would be immediately requested. Now, before I move on here, I'm just going to very quickly mention that I don't think this is relevant. I think that this is sort of a distraction from the real issue in question. So I would have, like, if I was a Psyonix, I would have gone like this, just, let's just delete that, because it's not really relevant, I think. But if they want to stand by that statement, then, where's the solo 2v2 queue? Like, this hasn't been an issue for when comparing the existence of solo standard 3v3 and not having a solo 2v2 queue. So this is, I think, not relevant. But we'll read it without it being there, because I don't think it's relevant. We don't like pulling players out of existing competitive queues, but team queue as pictured in these images would require at least one more queue. Yeah, that's true. Team queue would be a new queue, which would require another. They think that there would be two new queue. They're saying that if they introduce one team queue, they would actually have to introduce two, one for two, two and three, three. I don't think that's three, just one. We're going to talk about one new queue, which is fair. Yeah, there will need one more queue. So in that case, now you've split our most successful matchmaking playlist down the middle, reducing match quality and matchmaking times across the board for our most popular playlists. Not ideal. You can throw all of the ranked teams in with non-teams, but it defeats the purpose to have a team rank and leaderboards if some teams are just beating up on solo queuers and others are facing pre-made teams, depending on when you queue. Okay, that's actually really interesting. So a lot of good points here. Again, I don't think that saying, if we made team 3v3, we would also need to make team 2v2. So it's actually double. There's 2 new queues rather than 1. I don't think that's a relevant point. I think that's just a bit of a distraction from the issue, like I said. But we will talk about 1 new queue, team 3v3, the game that they make the competitive scene focused around. So let's just assume that there's 1 new queue, team 3v3, and this is something that's been suggested before many times. Replace solo standard. That's the easiest. That's the easiest way to fix it, in my opinion. Just take out solo standard and put in team 3v3. This isn't my idea. This is a very, very popular idea. And hey, if it doesn't turn out well, let's say that Psyonix took solo standard out of the game and they put in team queue, and then everybody in the community says, whoa, okay, hold on. I've been playing team queue for a couple weeks now. This is nowhere near as good as solo standard. Then Psyonix could be like, okay, we heard the feedback. We're going to revert back to solo standard. Team queue didn't work, But until you test that, you don't know how that will play out. And from what I see, I get a lot of messages. So I can only speak for my experience, but I always get people asking me, "Where's team queue? Why is solo standard in the game?" I think it's a very, very easy way to get past this problem. There wouldn't be any more queue fragmentation because right now there are 2 3v3 queues, so you're just taking out one of them and replacing it with another. So there's no more or less queues in that world. So that's my answer to this section. Also, this bit is actually very true. I agree with this little addition at the end here, where Psyonix are answering the suggestion of putting all of the matchmaking playlists in together. And by that they mean if you're a team queue, like let's say you're a team ranked group of players, and then you hit find match. Some matches you'll be against other teams. Some matches you'll be against people who have solo queued or queued up in standard. I don't think mixing playlists would be good. I agree with them here. That would be a terrible idea. But like I said, with the replace solo standard with team mode solution, you're getting past the queue fragmentation issue completely. So that's no longer an issue. And this part about we would immediately need to add 2v2 teams as well. No, you didn't immediately add a 2v2 RLCS when 3v3 RLCS happened. You didn't add solo 2v2 when you added solo standard. You won't have to add team 2v2 when you add team 3v3. Like, no. This whole section, I think, very easy to fix. But okay, the next one's actually very interesting. I'm going to read for quite a while here, just to give you the full context of what Psyonix think about team skill. And this is, talking about individual skill within teams being, say, different, being variable. So I'm going to read for a while here, so bear with me, and then once I've given you the full context, I'll tell you what I think about it. So team skill. Let's listen to what Psyonix have to say. A persistent team ranking is problematic in a team concept with substitute players and flexible rosters. Imagine I formed a team with other Psyonix folks, including Psyonix Art. We all know Art isn't very good, but our team ranking doesn't account for who's playing at any given time. So our Artless, Art by the way is just one of the Psyonix employees, our Artless team with a lot of games, win a lot of games and rank up to Diamond, but then we sub Art in and get stomped against those same opponents. So just in case that doesn't make sense, they're saying that their team 3v3, or their 3v3 team that they've created has a substitute who's way worse than the main roster. So every time they substitute him in, they get smashed. Okay, fair point. That would suck. From our perspective, this lowers overall match quality, as team ranks have some inherent inaccuracy to them. Also, consider the constant churn of new teams doing placement matches and calibrating their skill over time. You end up extending the chaos of a seasonal skill reset across the full season of team play. These challenges usually leads people to suggest unique party rankings. And this is why I'm going to keep reading, just because obviously, ellipsis, they're not done talking. Popularized by StarCraft 2, this team ranking model assigns unique skill rankings or ratings to every permutation of players that play together. In the example above, me, that's the Psyonix dev who's writing this, Psyonix Dave and Psyonix Art would have a different team skill than our Psyonix dev who's writing Psyonix Dave and Psyonix Devon. This fixes the issue we outlined for team skill, but at considerable cost, such as teams of larger than exact queue size can no longer have a consistent ranking identity. Every group of friends you play with has to be ranked and calibrated independently, increasing matchmaking churn and uncertainty in match creation. And finally, inability to rank up if even a single member of your unique team combination is offline or unavailable. So hopefully you're able to bear with me for all that. I'm going to go through all that now. I wanted to just read it all in one go because, breaking it down line by line before the whole... there would be no point in me responding to this when, our Psyonix dev here has actually done that. He's responding to his own suggestion, predicting what people will say correctly. But yeah, team skill. I think that both of the initial points brought up here are very, very valid concerns. Very, very valid concerns. I have a solution that I think will work, but I want your guys' feedback on it. Maybe there's a hole in the solution that I haven't thought of, and maybe somebody will be like, "Oh, Johnny, look, this is actually an issue that you didn't identify," and I'm totally okay with that. I'm just throwing this out there, and if it's a good idea, that's cool. If it's not, that's also that's fine. Just let me know. But I think the solution is to use a much more basic, a much more simple queue system, a much more team creation system than is outlined here. So let me explain. The team system that is outlined here involves creation of a team. So before you can queue up, you need to actually make a team. So here's our team. Bam. We're going to be called the Psyonix because, this is the Psyonix dev team, right? And then there's obviously a leader who made this team, and this is our, let's just call it me, because that's what he called himself, the Psyonix dev who made this. So he's made the team, he's in the team. And then he's also invited Art, so he's in the team, and he's invited Devon, he's in the team, and he's invited Dave as well. So yeah, sorry about the terrible handwriting. It looks more like Dov, but yeah, you know what I mean. So that's the team. You've got your 3 players and a substitute. And in this system, this team would have to, pick 3 players to play the placement matches. They're not going to pick Art because apparently he's not very good. So our Psyonix member, Devon and Dave, they're going to go play ranked. Maybe they go 8 wins, 2 losses. Maybe they place in Platinum 1 in team rank. And then, they just keep playing games together. They've got a matchmaker rating at Plat 1. And then you, in this example that was outlined below, hey, maybe we're going to sub in Art today. Oh my, I don't know how that got 10 times bigger, but it's cool. So they're going to sub in Art for Devon. And as soon as that happens, bam, we're no longer Plat 1. We've got a brand new rating because this variation of our team hasn't done as well. That's quite complicated. I agree this is kind of messy. I don't see the point in doing it like that either. I think it would be it would take ages. This point here, you end up extending the chaos of seasonal skill reset across full seasons. It would just take forever. Everybody would constantly be playing games where you're not versus opponents at your skill level. Maybe you stomp them, maybe you get stomped. There wouldn't be good games. That's true. But with my system, the way that it would work is any 3 players at any time can just make a party, just like you currently do. So I make a party with 2 of my buddies, and then we just hit play game. We hit find match, and then at the end of the match, our team is just automatically put on the leaderboard, and we don't have a team name or anything. We don't have a team we don't call ourselves the Floppy Birds or whatever. We're just our team is the players. So it would be me and my 2 buddies, and I want to play with 2 other people. Bam! I'll just party up with them, hit Q, and then we're going to appear on the leaderboard as well. That's just, Johnny Boy and XY to his other team. In my iteration, you can have as many teams as you want. You can play with whoever you want, and there's no limit to how many people you can play with. No substitutes. You just party up and hit find match in team ranked, and that is your team. The MMR issue, team skill, obviously, different MMR would be a problem. And that's what he was talking about with unique party rankings, popularized by StarCraft 2, and why it wouldn't work. But I think the easy solution to that is just to have a hidden MMR personal rating. So let me very quickly explain what that is. So here's me. Oh my goodness, why is this pen so thick? Hold on a second. I don't know how did I do this? Okay, there we go. So here's me, right? Here's Johnny Boy. And my hidden rating, just to keep it simple, is 1,000, right? And here's my first teammate. His personal hidden rating is 1,200. And here's teammate number 2. Since I always get carried, his hidden personal rating is 1,400. So, let's say our team have never played together. Oh, hold on, I don't know why that third man didn't show up there. Oh no, he did. What am I talking about? For a second there, I thought he didn't. Oh no, do you know what I did? Now here we go. Here's me. Sorry, I said I'd written me, but I've actually drawn me off the screen that I'm capturing. Anyway, so here's my teammate number one, teammate number 2, and me. And as you can see, our average team rating is 1,200. Yep, that's right. Didn't even need a calculator for that. I'm amazing. So even if we've never played a game before in the season, the rank or the matchmaking system would assume that we're an average 1,200 rating team, and it'll put us in a game against another 1,200 rated team right from the get-go. No matchmaking. You don't have to beat up on bronze players. Silver players don't have to get trashed by you. You don't have to get trashed by grand champs. You just go straight in there at your actual skill level. But these numbers are all hidden. You don't see these. These are just hidden personal rating numbers. And I would suggest for the first team league or team mode season rather, these numbers would just be pulled straight from standard 3v3. So whatever your standard 3v3 rank is at the end of, let's say that they released this in season 7, which is just around the corner, then your starting hidden personal MMR matchmaking rating for team mode would be what you finished off season 6 in 3v3. Of course, for future team mode seasons, you could just use a player. Like if I finished if I finished a season at 1,000 points, then my next season's hidden MMR would be 1,000. But to actually get to that rating in the leaderboard, you have to play sufficient games. And of course, initially, your win-loss, let's say this is the leaderboard here, or let's say this is a flow chart. This is your rank, and this is time. And as you play games, initially, wins are going to get you lots of points, and losses aren't going to really lose you anything because the system's trying to get you to your actual rating. So you're going to be winning a lot and not losing that much. But then over time you're going to start doing this as your matchmaking rating normalizes. You're going to reach the rating that your average hidden personal MMR is. And then that's going to be when you're going to show up in the leaderboard at the position that you think you're going to be in, and you're going to start bouncing up and down like you're all used to doing in regular rank systems. This is a very, very common system. A rank system will try to accelerate you initially to get you to close to where you're supposed to be, and then once you're there, you start getting +8, -8 in Rocket League today, +9, -9. Very, very similar win-loss. Negatives and positives. So does that? I don't know if that makes sense. In my head it makes sense, but obviously it's hard to understand if you haven't, been playing a game that has this system. I used to play World of Warcraft, and it had this system. You could just party up with anybody, and that you hit Q, and your average hidden personal MMR determines what your opponent is going to be, and then obviously you're going to have a good game against them. You might win, you might lose. If you win, you get a ton of points. If you lose, you don't really lose anything, initially at least. But then 50 games into the season with that lineup, you're going to be your rating will have normalized where it should be, and yeah, you're going to be just plateauing, or maybe climbing a little bit, maybe falling, whatever. But does that make sense? I want to know from you guys if that actually makes sense. Is that a good solution? Because in my head it makes sense, and hopefully if hopefully at least what I'm trying to explain makes sense. Whether or not it's a good idea is up to you guys. But if it doesn't make sense, if I've done a terrible job explaining it, say, hey Johnny, please, you're an idiot. Please explain that again. Or if you don't want me to, that's fine as well. But that's how I see it. That's how it works in my head. So yeah, the whole party rankings, unique party rankings, placement matches and like substitutes. Like there's no issue of substitutes anymore. There's no issue of waiting for your whole team to be online so you can play. Hey, just grab another couple buddies, That's how it is these days. You don't wait for your exact team to be online to play. You just play. You just play with whoever. And it would be exactly like that in team mode. The teams that play together the most would be rewarded. Because at the end of the day, that's what rank is, right? It's a combination of time that you've put into the rank or the matchmaking system and your skill. It's a combination of those two things. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. That's like my answer to this whole section. I know it's a little bit difficult to explain, but I think that it answers all of the questions that are brought up here. Answers the problem of substitutes being way lower level. It answers the question of matchmaking rating because it's just going to use hidden MMR to calibrate you initially, like where you're actually supposed to be, and then your team ratings is going to catch up, and that's the progress that you're going to enjoy, seeing yourself climb to your real rating with your team. And yeah, if I'm playing with one group of friends, and I'm also playing a lot with another group of friends, and I go win a lot with this other group of friends, suddenly obviously that's going to make my games with my other team harder because my rating is now higher. But it's also going to give us like more points gain. So we're going to get harder games next time I play with that group of friends. But if we win them, we're going to gain like more points. And if we lose them, we're not going to lose as many points because it's just going to be trying to normalize MMR, the average team MMR with the rank. That's a very common ranking system in other games as well. So if you don't understand it, just look it up. And yeah, this issue isn't a non-issue anymore. This is all. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that it answers all the questions, but let me know because I know that that's a very long topic, so I wanted to try and explain it in as much detail as possible. And yeah, this is no longer a problem as well, so I'm pretty sure that answers all the questions. Let's get into the last. There's one more page and then a conclusion from Psyonix, so I'm just going to read that again, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. So Psyonix also, they want to bring up flexibility as a potential issue, and they say that beyond these functional concerns that we've just discussed above, there are also matters of precedent to consider. The game has been live for almost 2 years, and as players, we've all become used to the idea that we're personally ranking up or down in competitive no matter who we play with. Ultimately, this makes competitive a very flexible system, which we feel is a net positive. Teams with their own rankings interfere with this flexibility. Teams can incentivize players to feel they can only make progress playing with their set team and could impact overall willingness to form pickup parties and play in groups of mixed rank. So this is another sort of section that I think is kind of not addressing the core issue, but at the same time I see where Psyonix are coming from here. In particular, this... where is it? Where's the bit about becoming used to the idea? Yeah, this here is the part that I want to highlight. Rocket League players, I completely agree, have become used to the idea that they themselves are ranking up and down, despite the fact that your teammates might be random every game. Your opponents are very random. You're playing by yourself and you're ranking up and down in a Rocket League team game 3v3 and 2v2 as they currently stand. And they think it's a good thing. And I think, well, yeah, of course people have become used to that because it's the only option. Like, what else is there to do? Like, you don't have another way of playing the game sometimes. You just have to play by yourself. And I think that given the chance to try team mode, people would enjoy that as well. And I don't think you can argue that. I think that team mode would certainly spark interest. People would try it. And the team mode that I suggested is so easy. You just do exactly what you currently do. You just party up with your buddies, hit find match, and then as soon as you've played one game, bam, you've got your team ranking. You and your two buddies would appear there just like in alphabetical order in a little list, and you could go to a tab and it says my teams. You click on it and you go, oh look, me and my buddy Billy and Sam, we are at 150 rating after 3 games because we won all our games. Oh, me and my buddy Pashy90 and Psyonix Art. We're killing it. We're like 1100 rating after 30 games. That's cool. And you can see like which group of friends you're doing the best with in team ranked. And of course the team ranked leaderboard would go all the way up to the top, and you can see who the actual best combination of players is in the team ranked leaderboard. Maybe one of the best teams in the world. Like let's say you've got who's doing well at DreamHack right now. NRG are doing pretty good, but they've got a ring. This NRG with Torment. They're actually doing better than NRG with their starting roster. Interesting. It would be really cool to see like what sort of pickup teams, what real teams would be doing the best in team ranked together. And I don't think that I don't think that this is really an issue. I think it's kind of a distraction from the real issue at hand. Obviously, the thing that Psyonix are rightfully concerned about is they think possibly the world that I'm suggesting where team mode comes in and replaces solo standard. They think that maybe a lot of players who like solo standard will quit the game, and not many people like team mode, so the overall player base will take a hit and then it'll decrease over time. But I don't think that would happen at all. That's what I'm reading between the lines here. I'm reading this flexibility thing, and I'm reading Psyonix being scared to make this change or introduce team mode because they're worried it'll scare people away from their game. People will play team mode and be like, okay, this is maybe all I'm going to do now. I'm never going to play ranked by myself again. Only going to play team mode. Oh, I've got no friends online to play team mode with. I guess I'll not play Rocket League. That's an okay concern to have. I see where they're coming from. But I don't think that would happen at all. I think people would be so, like, players who previously quit the game would be back. They'd be like, oh my goodness, team mode's awesome. I think it would reinvigorate current players. It would bring back old players. It would inspire new players. I think that would happen. And obviously that's just my opinion. But, bringing up an opinionated problem like this is only going to get an opinionated answer. So that's all I can give you on this last topic about flexibility. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that Rocket League would become more popular based on team mode instead of solo standard? But then finally, in conclusion, Psyonix say, to sum up, we're interested in team identities, but concerned about the implications of team rankings as proposed in these mock-ups. We can't promise any future or timelines for supporting any team functionality, but it is something we care a lot about. There are alternatives and solutions to some of the problems I've discussed. One idea that could make sense is to keep the focus on individual player rankings, but offer a team leaderboard that is derived from an average of each team's top players in a playlist. Again, this sounds like the idea that I suggested, but it's not exactly the same. They're still operating, or I think Psyonix, whenever they think of team mode, they're thinking of teams are created, there is a team that has its own identity, players are invited to that team, and it has substitutes, and then the average player rating is what the team rating is. I think skip over the team creation bit altogether. You just make a party and you queue, and then the team is your group of players. But they say this wouldn't quite satisfy players who want an exclusive team only queue. But it might be one of the better compromises. But I like that Psyonix are saying they are willing to consider things as a compromise. So that's a good sign. As it often is in game development, there's no perfect solution, only a most tolerable compromise. We will certainly read and discuss feedback in this thread, and I think they did. Again, if you want to check out the original thread, just look in the description here, and I'll try to reply where it makes sense, but I can't promise to respond to everyone picking apart my entire post line by line. I realize that that's kind of what I'm doing, but I'm doing it more for you guys. If Psyonix, if you are watching, and you want me to, you think that there's potential in what I said, then let me know. I'll try and explain it better. But yeah, I think it's pretty simple. My solution is a very simple one. Keep in mind, these are summarizations of long discussions. I can't always convey every nuance in a single Reddit post. So yeah, obviously there's a lot more to it than just what was able to be said here, and I understand that. But yeah, I just wanted to have this discussion with you guys. I want to know what you guys think about it. Do you want team mode in Rocket League? Is that something you would play? Do you think that team mode replacing solo standard is a good idea? Do you think that being able to play in infinite number of teams with whoever you want is a good way to overcome the problems related to matchmaking and party creation and substitutes and everything? The idea, is my idea that I suggested a good one? And if not, let me know why. I'm absolutely happy to have a discussion with you guys on this. And again, really apologies for being so bad at explaining. I'm sure I've explained it terribly. It makes sense in my head. I hope it makes sense out loud as well. You know, maybe I'll get, I don't know, maybe I'll give it one more go. Like, it's really simple. Player 1, player 2, and player 3. You make a party, you hit find match, and then at the end of the game, you'll appear in the leaderboard. Oh hey, look, it's player 1, 2, and 3, and they've got what, 50 points, or you know, they're bronze 1. You know, like that's how it would work. And as far like it would be very simple. Oh, we won another game. Now we got 100 points. We're bronze 2. You know, like, and you'd climb rapidly to begin with, and then once you've played 30 games, you're maybe gonna have lost a couple more games, and you're starting to normalize. And you know, like, because you can play with anybody. Like maybe our star player, player 2, he's way higher rating than both of our teammates, but it's okay because the average rating of, like, the average hidden personal rating is how matchmaking is done. So we know the matches are going to be good matches from the beginning. We already have, everybody has a hidden personal rating already in 3v3, so it's already there. We already have that. Matchmaking we wouldn't need to start fresh every season with no data. We wouldn't have to have everybody queue up and have terrible games for 2 weeks just to figure out where a team should place. So, like, I do not propose player 1, 2, and 3 hitting find match and then their matchmaking for that team starting at 0 and calibrating from the beginning. I would propose it starting from an average personal MMR, which is hidden, and then you get to be rewarded by climbing towards that. That climb would be so much fun. You know, progress is exciting. You could progress with this team, then I progress with this other team. And like I said, if I'm progressing, obviously my hidden personal rating is progressing as well as my team's progression. So then I go play with another team, and since I've ranked up, our team suddenly has harder games. But that's okay as well, because the team ranking would be below the average personal rating. And when that is the case, you're going to be winning more points for winning than you lose for losing, until it normalizes again. And if it did, that would involve my personal rating coming back down as well as my teammates. You know, it would all be just the system, the visible system would just be more and more accurate the more games you play. And isn't that true of any rank system? But yeah, I'm gonna like stop there. I think I've probably explained this as well as I can. I'm not gonna say I've explained it well, but as well as I can. Any questions? Definitely leave them in the comments. And I still have an eraser here. Yeah. I really hope that made some sort of sense. I know it's taken a long time, but it always does with this sort of thing. And, you know, final thought, I just want to say that I don't make this I don't want this video to just be like fully like an attack on Psyonix and yeah, solo standard sucks. Like, that's really not what I want to do here. I just want a healthy discussion about team mode again, because it's so many. I see so many people talking about this, and nothing is like really getting done about it. You know, I see Psyonix respond and I see healthy responses, but I don't really think that they're considering, or I don't know if they consider the option that I'm presenting here, and I don't see the problems myself. So I want you to tell me, what are the problems, guys? Tell me, what are the problems with the system that I'm presenting to you today? And again, if you don't understand, ask me to explain it again, and I'll maybe, or you know, if there's anything you don't understand, I'll explain the bits you don't understand, so you guys can give me more accurate feedback. But yeah, for now, guys, that's gonna be it for team mode. I'm gonna go get a glass of water because I've just talked for 34 minutes. But I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Until then, thanks for watching and take care.
There comes a time in your life when you become one. You need to rediscover what matters in yourself.